Others, he's in shoes. Welcome to episode number 129 of my anime podcast. I'm your host, Yata, and joining me on the cast today is my co-host with the most, Peter Wright AA.
Very glad to be here again.
And Snowman.
Let's get some more hijinks.
Welcome back to the group chat. Welcome all to this latest edition of my anime podcast, this 129th edition of my anime podcast. We are here to discuss the spring season again. We have successfully managed to land a second recording pretty much halfway through the season, like we planned. Wink, wink, nod, nod. We always planned to be here today, and there was no trouble getting the band back together at all. It was all very smooth, and this is how everything was supposed to happen. But we are here, and we are excited to talk about a pretty fun spring season. Now, before we do get into things, I'm going to just chat to my co-host for a quick moment and see how we're all doing right now. Snowman, how is life in the Americas?
Good. Just hit my chair.
That was a big bang.
That just hit my chair. Great. We're off to a great start in a new recording. No, it's been good. I haven't been able to watch as much anime as I wanted to, but I've got a couple ones in the bag that I feel really good about.
And how is life, Peter, in the Europes?
The many Europes. Life is fine. Contrary to Snowman, I've really upped up my my anime watching game lately. Been watching a lot of things.
This is good. It's like carrying the weight for other people. You know what I mean? It's the greatest thing about having somebody else help you doing one of these things. Co-hosts are super helpful because co-hosts do the work that you wish you could do. I would say lives in the Asias are pretty good as well. Unfortunately, it's May right now, so Oof. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the insect known as mayflies. They're like a small flying ant that sort of like wakes up around May time, and they just invade the city or wherever they are. And I'm talking like swarms of them, like thousands and thousands of them. And unfortunately for me, I live right next to the National Science Museum Park. It's like 100 yards away from like where I live. So that area is just full of trees and greens. And every May, these mayflies, they come a-rocking. And unfortunately, like where we live, we're like in close proximity to them. So turn off all the lights. Close the curtains and hope to God that the number of mayflies that get into the apartment is less than like 400. It's a mess. Luckily enough, they are the stupidest things in the world. Like it's not like a crafty mosquito or a cockroach where it's like you get your one chance and if you miss it you're never going to get them again. These things are like doink doink doink, like they'll bite you in the face, you know.
But are they big? Are they like, how big are they?
I would say maybe like a fingerprint size, so maybe like an inch or so. They're not that big and they're not scary. They're just like, there's so many of them that it's just infuriating. The first time it happened, because it doesn't happen every May, it's happened like every other year or something like that we've been in this apartment. It's happened the first year, like we didn't know they were coming, and just running around with those mosquito rackets that they used to like kill mosquitoes, just like popping them out of the sky. I don't know, it was like Madara in that episode of Naruto when he was just like fighting all of the guys by himself, except for in this analogy, the whole ninja like nation or whatever was these mayflies, and I was Madara just like swatting.
You got like the eyes walking around looking for the for the flies.
Earlier on in the week, a couple came in and I was like, oh boy, I forgot it was May and this thing happens. And I looked out the window and there were just like hundreds of them crawling over the nets. Luckily enough though, they are very predictable creatures. And once you turn off the lights, they have no more interest in your domicile. So they fled. That's the height of my drama right now.
I would leave the country. I hate bugs.
I do too.
I like bugs, but bugs, they need to respect your privacy, you know? Outside is a place for bugs. Inside is not a place for bugs.
I love all animals, but if you come into my house, it's game time.
We've had a few like dramatic ones. Like we've had a couple of like stink bugs as well, like randomly just show up on our balcony where we hang our laundry. That's annoying. Mosquitoes are just an ever-present. Can't get rid of those things. And I've had the odd like rove beetle come in, which is like a very tiny little bug. It's about the same size as a mayfly, but without the wings. And if those things drop on you or like make contact with your skin, it like burns the crap out of you. On my chest here, like my collarbone area, my second year in Taiwan, I had got a really bad burn by one one, and it was like on my skin for like a year. Like it was visible. It was all like blistered and gross. And then I had one on the nook of my arm, like the inside of my elbow. I know most people in Taiwan, I think I've never been stung by one.
you're the guy.
That is my native girlfriend who's lived her whole life here and has never been stung by one. And I have somehow managed to be stung twice by them. Bugs. What are you going to do about them, eh? They just impose themselves in life in Asia, I guess.
That one sounds medieval. Like it stings you and it's there for a year. It sounds like it sounds horrible.
I wouldn't say it was painful for a year. It was just like a discoloration of the skin for a year. But I remember like going to like the dermatologist. I didn't know what happened. I didn't know what a roadkill was. Because in Ireland, like the most dangerous animal is man. But like the second most dangerous animal is like a cow or something like that, right? There's just like nothing
sheep
to worry about. Yeah, a sheep, like an angry sheep. And as far as bugs go, it's like just your regular allotment of like vanilla bugs. But here it's like, well, you have this thing and you've got like huntsman spiders and snakes and stuff. There's stuff that we don't have like in Ireland. But at least it's not like Central America. Every scary bug either comes from Australia or Costa Rica. I've seen some like monsters, like those like random YouTube shows that guys will just get bit by some like monster ant or something like that in Costa Rica, and it's just like, oh man,
like
the
snakes in your
rainforest.
toilet. I can't.
Yeah, I've remember seeing a video once. This has got to be like an all-time top 5 unluckiest ways to die. There's a guy in Thailand who was like peeing in the toilet, and as a male, he was standing up to do it, and like a snake came out of the cistern and like bit him in the member, the penile gland, and he like bled out.
I would shoot myself. I swear. If I saw a snake, I'm like, I could get something to kill myself.
I know, right? For a while, I used to like check the toilet after like seeing that story. But yeah, so that's life at the moment in Taiwan and Europe and in America. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little musical interlude here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the spring season that was, or currently is, actually, to be more accurate.
We're on time, Yata. We're on time, so we can say is.
Yes, it is. And we are back. Yeah, we're talking about the spring. And as we went through the shows last time, I felt like the most popular of the shows amongst us, it seemed to be in terms of interest, was Spy Family or Spy X Family. We're going to refer to it as Spy Family, I think, going forward. We had a little tat off air to figure out what we're going to call it. We're going to go with the Hunter x Hunter model, and we're going to go Spy Family. It's on Netflix right now, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we're up to episode 5. Is that correct? All right, awesome. And everybody is up to date?
Yep.
Of course.
All right, and Yata is up to date as well. So we might spoil it for you listening, but we're not going to spoil it for us here. We're all up to episode 5. And yeah, I think Cloverworks and Wit are onto a winner here. This is a very impressive production.
The premise is already strong, but really Cloverworks and Wit are really bringing it in the animation department as well. It's got some very solid animation and action scenes that really sell the show. Also props to the background designers, because the way that they show fake Berlin, I mean Berlin, it's very detailed and it's very well done on the animation side.
Yeah, I think they nailed that like 60s Cold War era like European city, like even with like the music and the background design of like the apartment. So all that's really cool. I was like surprised by the action scenes because I was expecting like comedy family dynamics with some like weird powers in there, but no, we got like a couple good action scenes. So that was really surprising and really nice, like a really nice surprise.
Yeah, I'm in love with Berlin and the vibe of the vibe of the whole city. Actually, the vibe of the anime in general. It's kind of like a refreshingly novel time period, I guess.
Yeah,
like I don't remember seeing like a mid 20th century European vibe.
No, yeah, it's usually like medieval. Before. It's usually like medieval, like 1500s Europe.
Yeah,
like the one that
or
we
like
get most.
World War II or something like that. You know,
yeah.
Like I think it's fantastic looking. I gotta say the OP sequence is stunning. I'm gonna say this a lot actually during this whole recording, but I'm really impressed by the OP.
There are a couple ones. There are a couple ones.
I feel like it's everyone, honestly. But this one, in terms of like the song is fine, but the visuals are just stunning. As some of the best stuff I've ever seen. Kind of gives me weird JoJo Bizarre Adventure vibes as well. I kind of want to see like Wit/Cloverworks take one of the JoJo Bizarre Adventures, like
that'd be nice. That makes sense.
Iterations and see what they could do with it. Not to say that Dave aren't killing it, or David, sorry. Don't know who Dave is. Just been thoroughly impressed by like, well, every facet of the production. And then you see the OP is like indicative of like the quality of almost the rest of the show. Characters are just fantastic as well. I really like that family.
Yeah, it's so fun. That's like the best part, right? Like for some reason I expected more comedy, but we got like a lot of wholesome stuff of like them building the family together, which is also really nice.
Absolutely, yeah. So I gotta ask, if we're having like a power power ranking of the family. I felt like in the early weeks, Anya definitely had taken like a strong position on top. But our Thorn Princess, Ibarahime Yor, she has definitely come strong in later weeks. Now, I'm going to say it, actually. I like Forger, Lloyd Forger.
Yeah, he's cool.
I really like that guy.
Yeah.
He's my personal favorite. Not to say like I have anything against Anya or Yor. They're both fantastic as well. But there's something like just very, very like lovable about Lloyd as well.
Yeah, he's like hardworking. He's nice.
His like inner monologues and his overthinking, and then like having Anya react to that, just like every time. Chef's kiss. That is like an easy go-to comic moment that every single time, and obviously, and then Yor as well with like, should I kill this guy? Fantasies. And having Anya react to that as well. Like, that's a nice little touch.
I think it's also very smart because also in the manga, you don't want to have a lot of exposition to the reader. But a character like Anya, who can read minds, is basically looking into the minds of Lloyd and Yor. Through her, you understand what's going on inside of these characters. But since Anya's just a little kid, she doesn't understand any of it. So she just thinks it's cool and doesn't really think about it. Something like that is just brilliant. How do you come up with that?
Anya definitely has like she's so dumb, right? Like, and it's kind of mean to say, but she's so dumb and it's really funny. I think her like reactions in the background might be the funniest thing. But I wanted to mention like the one character that I've enjoyed the most so far, and that's like the teacher at the school.
And a good boy.
Yeah, talking about JoJo, he sounds like straight out of JoJo the way he talks.
I was trying desperately to think of like a clever way to get elegant into the conversation, like naturally. Yeah. From episode 3 and 4, definitely the takeaway in a word was elegant. And what was elegant?
So nice.
He is quality. Look good. I thought you were going to say the curly-haired guy who was the informant for Lloyd. I thought you kind of shone in episode 5. I spoke to I spoke to my girlfriend about it. She wasn't the biggest fan of episode 5. That wasn't her favorite of the episodes. I actually kind of really liked it. The zaniness of it. I got that moment of like kind of fan service where we can see Lloyd and Yor in a quick moment of combat. I have been wondering, okay, like push comes to shove, if they had to fight, who's going to win? Is it International Man of Mystery Lloyd Forger or Twilight? Or is it our Thorn Princess Yor? And having that moment combat before Yor passed out drunk, that was pretty gratifying.
The thing I love is that they have like a bunch of comedy moments in there, right? Like Lloyd asking like, wait, isn't she a witch? Why is she punching me? They bring back the peanuts. Gotta bring back Anya's favorite meals. Peanuts.
Gotta have the peanuts.
That's a weird favorite food. But funny enough, actually Taka's favorite thing is peanuts as well. I don't get it. Peanuts are perfectly fine, but it's not like
it's just a peanut.
Yeah, it's just a peanut, you know.
Don't underestimate
I guess if you're a
peanut
person, you know, maybe we just don't get it. We're just too normie or whatever. Which was the one when they were at the school and we got the beginning of the whole elegant thing? Was that episode 3?
That's episode 4. That's when they're on their way to the interview.
That one might be like the best episode so far.
Yeah, I like that one. I did like the introduction of Yor and getting that work situation with her quote-unquote friends. And I use that term very, very loosely.
It's kind of people that you hang out with at work, but you don't really like, but there's nobody else to hang out with for your same age.
We're stuck together. I felt her pain there. I shouldn't say that. I've always had a pretty fine relationship with my coworkers. You don't necessarily always want to hang out with them, but you don't actually feel like they'd relish and drink your tears if they had the opportunity. Yeah, so in terms of like the shucks, like the sweet moments or the wholesome moments, I thought Lloyd coming through and showing up to the party and Yor having her moment. I thought that was a nice moment. I also had my mind racing. I'm kind of like, I believe both of you guys have read the manga, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
I'm not going to like request an answer, but I'm going to throw this out there and you guys will know and other manga readers will know whether I'm right or wrong, but I have a feeling her brother might not just be your regular civil servant type. I don't know why, but I had this image of a cool way to like bring it down the line might be the fact that he might be like either a spy or a spy catcher or something like that, and having a situation where maybe she's forced to choose between her brother and possibly her new family. I don't know.
Deafening silence is what you're gonna get. Deafening silence.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
Tumbleweeds of you're spot on or you're completely wrong.
It's so nice to be on this side, to just see you spin your little tail.
There's going to be a lot of spinning my hamster wheel later on when we get to summertime rendering. So,
but we'll all be on the same boat on that one.
You know that meme where the guy is like wearing a shirt and he's got a cigarette pointing to like 500 different pictures on the board?
That's us with summertime. Yeah.
That's basically my last like week with summertime rendering. So yeah, on Spy Family really quickly, I would say that it's a definite continue to watch. If we were doing this week to week and like doing a letter grades, which we historically do before we move to the 5-star system, I would say this is on for probably a solid A. There's like no weaknesses unless you were like looking for something something that it wasn't. No shades in Rocky or whatever, but I'd imagine that if he went into it expecting a bit of action, he might hold the wholesomeness against it, we'll say. Or if you wanted something that's more straight comedy, the wholesomeness might not be necessarily there for what you exactly wanted. But if you're taking it as it comes and you're not letting your expectations cloud what you actually get, I don't see how you can't really be enjoying this to loving it. I think I'm quite close to loving it. I'm at the point now where I actively look forward to the episode. It's not one of those things that I catch after a few days. It's, oh no, new episode of Spy Family, I need to get to that within 24 hours.
That and Summertime Rendering are the two shows that I'm like, I need to watch it as they come out.
What do you guys, if you had to give a superficial in pencil letter grade, where do you think it's trending right now?
I think I'm probably like an A-, because I was definitely like, I thought I was gonna laugh more a little bit, so I'm doing the whole like expectations thing a little bit.
Expectations versus reality,
yeah. And I think some of the jokes also like haven't landed spot on, but the wholesomeness is really good and the action is really good and the production is really good. So A- is where I'm at.
As for me, I'm actually a bit sad that I read the manga in advance, because not knowing what's going to come, I mean, the surprise is going to be better and the jokes are going to land better. Nevertheless, I mean, what can you say? What can you say about perfection? There's not that much to say, but I grant this an immediate A and a must-watch to anyone. I mean, unless you are expecting something completely different, unless you're expecting something like a hardcore spy thriller, which there is spy stuff in here, but it's not James Bond or anything.
That's Spy Family. Now, what we're going to do is the other main show that we really want to focus on is Summertime Rendering, because I think that's like the other contender for like anime of the season. Before we do that, though, we're going to touch on some other shows that we have been keeping up to breast on. We can just pop from person to person and we can bring up whatever. And then if anyone else has seen it, we can discuss it a little bit. And if not, we can just pepper with some questions to see if there's anything else in the spring gold mine that's worth mining. So, Peter, what have you been watching this spring season?
One of my other shows that I've been keeping up on, the show that I recommended during the spring preview episode, which is Trapped in a Dating Sim. Life is hard as a mob, and well, like we explained last time, this is your typical isekai story, but then a guy is somehow forced to play a dating sim for girls and then falls down the stairs, breaks his neck, and then wakes up in the video game.
Oh, Stair-kun.
Get out of here, Truck-kun.
And I have to say, this is a thoroughly solid, very average, below average show. Why am I watching
average.
this?
Great description. Great.
It's getting lower and lower every time. It's pretty. Actually, it's a garbage fire.
I don't know. Something is keeping me watching. I'm not sure, but you know, everybody needs their guilty pleasures now and then. The animation of the show is not very good. I mean, I'm talking about animation, but sometimes scenes aren't animated at all.
Slideshow.
And also the story doesn't make much sense. So you know, it starts off with the main character Leon. He wakes up in another world. He finds out he's a nobleman's son, and in this world, gender roles are reversed. So women are in charge, and the men just have to follow. So he has a horrible stepmother. Is that how you call it?
Wicked stepmom.
And that stepmom wants to just marry him off to some horrible woman just for the money.
Is there a ball upcoming? I'm sensing a ball upcoming. Some glass slippers. Is that where we're going?
I was getting the same thing as well.
Somewhat, yeah. But his solution is to just go out on an adventure, earn a lot of money, and say, haha, I'm rich now, so you don't have to do that anymore. I can live my own life now. And then the next logical step, of course, is to go to magical high school. You know,
Of course.
As you do.
As you do. I don't really get the logic here. The main character is kind of bad. It's not very well animated, but
So you're going to keep watching it then, right?
I'm going to keep watching it.
There we go.
I've stuck with other bad shows before. I've watched both seasons of Arifureta.
I literally was going to bring that up. I was going to say, on the Arifureta scale of bad isekai, like, what are we talking here? Is it worthy of mention next to that all-time classic of Arifureta?
Great.
All-time
Yes.
Great?
Question mark.
Oof, on the
It can't be that
Arifureta
bad, right?
scale. Man, a step below, unfortunately. Arifureta is just pure, unsaturated. I'm 13 years old. I just watched anime. I'm angry. I want a power fantasy. I'm like,
I was gonna
I'm
say,
the coolest guy ever.
Where's my level ups?
Yeah.
Where's my harem?
I get all the girls, I got all the cool things, and I'm cool guy.
I got an eye patch to show how cool I am.
Exactly.
And white hair. Gotta remember the white hair.
Of course, yeah. Oh man, Harry Fruetta. I still haven't done season 2 yet. I'm almost like, I don't know. One of my weird regrets in the history of doing the podcast is my review I did on YouTube for Harry Fruetta. I did it quickly and it was fun, but I didn't put that much effort into it. And for some reason, man, that thing is just like every day I feel like I get a new comment from somebody like having their say about what I said about Harry Fruetta. And like, it's about 50-50. Like I've had a lot of insults thrown my way because of I'm almost like afraid to go back to it, but I do love it good. And even sometimes a mid-tier isekai on occasion. Honestly, like my hope with this one was that it was going to be something akin to My Next Life as a Villainess.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that one. It just really kind of hit me the right way, but I'm guessing this one is not one that makes the cut in terms of like essential isekai. Maybe it's one for the purists. You know, the guys who watch all of the isekai, maybe not the casuals like myself. What about you, Snowman? You got anything good on the menu right now?
The other show that I've been watching and enjoying a lot is Danseur, which it's really hard to pronounce, I guess. I feel like I'm talking about Dance Dance Revolution.
I literally thought you were going to say Revolution, even though I knew you
were.
It
was French, so Danseur, something like that.
Oh, Peter.
I don't want to be if I do the French accent, it's not going to come out well. I don't think we mentioned Dance Triple.
No, I don't think we did.
I don't think we mentioned it in the preview, and I wasn't initially going to watch it. Like 3 or 4 episodes passed before I started watching it, but then I started seeing like clips of like the actual dance animation, and I was like kind of blown away. It gave me Yuri on Ice vibes, and so that's why I started watching it, and it's really good. It's like a typical sports anime thing but with dance, but the animation for the dance is like really, really good. I keep expecting it to like fall off, right? Because like it's really hard to do all the movements. It's really hard to not do it with like CGI and stuff like that, and there's been some of it in there because they put on like a play in one of the episodes. It has some CGI, but not really. Like I thought it would have like more of it, and it's really like been consistent, I guess, with how good the animation is, right? Like I was also scarred a little bit by, there was another dancing show, Welcome to the Ballroom, I think it was, and that one like I was really excited for. It had like the giraffe necks, like but because it was like the Haikyuu team and extended, I guess.
Go-Go Gadget neck.
Yeah, these ones, right? Like they're dancing ballet, right? So they all have Go-Go Gadget necks. That's what they're looking for, I guess, right? So, but no, it's really good, and it does have like the dumb like middle school romance things in it. But besides that, it's been like really, really good. Like the animation really is what keeps me going. I'm a big like, if it looks good, it doesn't matter what's going on. Like I'm audio visual type of guy.
I gotta say, like I do not know what Mappa are doing right now. I feel like they have a bunch of like animators chained to like their desks. They're just getting whipped like around the clock until they produce 4 anime every season. The output is absurd. I think back to like say 2015, 2016, where Mappa was like, oh yeah, they did Shingeki no Bamuth and Yuri on Ice. That's those guys. And now they do half of all anime. You know, it's incredible. In saying that though, the output is so prolific. I just don't know why we haven't got a season 2 of Yuri on Ice yet.
Yeah.
Or this movie, this like Victor sort of origin story movie. Yeah, I gotta say, like I had no real desire to check out Danseur. Or Danseur. I forgot I had to do it in a French accent until the end. Danseur.
There we go.
Until couple of weeks in, I actually kind of feel like it was a bit of a flub on our part.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Doing the preview that we missed a couple of bigger seasonal shows, maybe. Danseur for sure. And what I've been checking out, which is your boy Koumei. I'm not going to lie, I purely checked this one out because of the OP.
Yeah, the OP.
Peter, in particular, you might have this feeling I did, though. This was like pure Europop.
Oh, yeah.
I was getting like flashbacks. Every summer, a track like this would just take over. I was thinking of like, Rays of Ace.
It's in Moldavia, from Moldavia.
Or like some random German group will have like a big song.
Yeah, the dance hits.
It's pure Euro trash.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I have been like totally surprised by how good your boy Koumei is. I sort of started watching it for the memes, and I found that, like, honestly, I think it's getting better and better with every episode.
Yeah, and like the premise is absurd, right? It's like this really absurd premise.
Well, it's like a reverse isekai, basically.
Yeah. Someone from ancient China, this strategist from ancient China, he's on his deathbed, and then he wakes up in present day Japan, and he's young again.
Pure Bishi boy as well.
Yeah, and he doesn't know where he is. He wakes up in Shibuya.
Oof, what a terrible place to wake up if you're from ancient China. Seizure inducing or something like that.
The only thing I have with it is the fact that everybody knows who Kongming is.
Oh, yeah.
I never heard of the guy, so I assume nobody else did. I will say my girlfriend knows him. He's like quite famous in like Chinese culture.
I think I know him from like the Dynasty Warriors video games is what I know him from.
I'm sure the character's made an appearance in one of those Three Kingdoms stories, but everybody in the club scene in Japan is just like into that, that Three Kingdoms lore. It's kind of silly, like not criticizing, but poking fun at its lack of believability. The fact that some random people know who Kongming is when we literally have a guy being transported to the future to a different country to take over a club singer and help her get to like her superstar status. That aside though, I've been loving it. I think the character designs are really, really good. So they make the musicians believable, and it feels very current in terms of like how the characters look, how they dress, the musical styles that are popular. It's not just the same generic sort of J-pop that you would expect from like an anime. I will say that I'm not the biggest fan of the music. I think that they do sing in English a lot, and I think that kind of like reduces the quality. It's one of those things I think it would have been better suited just to have it in Japanese, but it is what it is. And it's actually kind of a minor criticism, because in one of these things where like music is a thing, like if the music was the best part of it, that's fine, but that means the story is not very good. Here, the story is actually quite good. And I gotta say, like Kabutsaijin, the rapper, his 2-episode arc was the best part of the show so far. I really like empathize with that story, and I thought that was like the most fascinating thing. And also I got like a genuine moment of surprise when he called Kongming a motherfucker during his rap.
It was in English, right? So in English you can get away with with different things.
That rap battle was actually really good.
It was amazingly good.
How they set it up for the story and the production, the atmosphere, and just how they kind of made his story come full circle through this rap battle. It was way better than it should have been.
Yeah, it was part of the week of rap. I think there was like a week in anime where like all the anime shows had like a rap episode. Like Kaguya had a rap episode, Komi had a rap episode, something else. Oh, Aharon-san had a...
Generally, this can only go one way, this badly, I would say, but this was actually very well done. And that's like the whole show in general. I feel like it should not be as good as it is. If someone said to me before the start of the season, like, what's the cap on this? I'd say like, on the high end, we're talking like a 7.5. Not for everybody, but it will have an audience and it'll be good for what it is. This thing is sitting on like an 8.42 right now.
Yeah.
That's like
deserved.
Wild.
I think in a lot of seasons, it might have been like the low-key anime of the season. I would say it's like third on my list personally.
It shifts for me. Sometimes it's number 2, sometimes it's number 3, but it's always in the shadows saying like, if Spy Family screws up at some point, I'm going to take the throne.
Yeah. I gotta say though, I love the mid cards. Pari Koumei.
Yeah.
Every time I find myself parroting her when she says it. Pari Koumei. So that's Koumei. I couldn't recommend it highly enough. If you're not watching it, you gotta check it out. Start off with the OP, and then that'll hook you up for the rest of the show. What we're gonna do is we're gonna hop out of this again, and we're gonna come back and talk about Summertime Render. And I should warn you, if you haven't seen Summertime Render yet, we're getting into the weeds with this one. There might be spoilers. Like, we just gotta work it out. It's gonna be like a therapy session. We just don't know where it's gonna go. We're just gonna see what happens. It's a bit of a head messer, that one. So we'll have some music here, probably your boy Kongming's OP, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about Summertime Render. Okay, Summertime Render. I do not know what I was expecting from this show. I had thought it low-key could have been the anime of the season, because it just seemed like there was a lot like right about the synopsis. I've been like very, very impressed with what we've got so far. In terms of like, I got into it late, so the first 4 episodes had already dropped by the time I got to watching it, and I literally just like boom, 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 boom. And then had that thing where you eat all the cake, and then you look at the cake that's sort of not there anymore, and you kind of hate yourself. And you're like, oh, I want more cake, but I also hate the fact that I didn't have enough discipline to just sort of space it out. I want more cake. We've had 5 episodes of 25, which is kind of baffling to me, because I just don't know, they've gone so far in 5 episodes. How far can you go in 20
they've had
more?
3 major story bending twists already, and I'm like, what is going on? That's the thing that hooked me in, because like the first episode, I'm like, oh, it's just gonna be like go back to your hometown murder mystery type of thing.
Erased.
And then first episode, by the end, I'm like, oh, this is a different story. Okay, that's fine. And then second episode, I'm like, okay, there's like this gimmick going on in the story, and then they introduce like the bad guys, I guess. I'm like,
shadows.
What is this? Is this like, so what are these things? And then I think there was another big twist that I couldn't remember.
Oh yeah, Ushio comes back.
Oh yeah. And then the girl who gets killed, she's like there, and I'm like, what is this? What is this show? It's really, and then
when you think
like every
that
episode has been like really mind bending.
And then episode 5 was like the end of the world.
Yeah. And then when you think you figured it out, the bad guys. Well, are we in spoiler territory? Have we gone that far?
We have way past.
Turn off now if you don't want to be confused.
and it's not just that, but you know the shadows, the villains, they even figure out about the time travel stuff.
Yeah, that was great.
They're one step.
What is this?
They adapted to it, whereas in other stories, you know, that wouldn't just be included. So I was like, damn, darn, I'm stumped.
And at least not this early. Like I've seen a couple of like, you know, time loop or going back in time traveling stories, and sometimes a character notices like, you wouldn't know that unless you're like a time. There's usually like that character that like figures it out, but it's like halfway through the story, like by the end of it, and it's like episode 4, and they're like super logical about it. Yeah, the only way. I'm like, what is this? It's really cool.
You also had that weird moment because, like, where he had like he went back in time, but the person he was taught, but before he went back in time, a guy had referenced something that hadn't happened yet in him going back in time. He was talking about the girl with the big boobs.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. He was at the restaurant and he was cooking and said, I never said that. And then he goes back in time and it happens. And now I'm like, you're like, okay, well, time, it's just like, it's not just him going back in time. Each time he does it, there's like, it's like out of sequence possibly. Yeah. So I'm going to throw out some wild things here. Let me just like, this is going to get off the reservation. I could be like completely wrong, but here's where I'm going.
Let's go for it. All
right, because this is going to get wild. Okay, you know the girl with glasses, Hizuru Minakaka. All right, here's my thinking. Right, I think that might be Mio from the future, as in the dark-skinned sister of his.
Yeah.
I also think because in episode 5, she references that she has a sister who is sort of like coordinating stuff with her, and she also is aware, and I think that might be like a grown-up version of Ushio, and that the writer of the book that he carries around, he has this book called Swamp Man. I feel like that might be our main character, Shinpei, in the future, writing the book of how to defeat the shadow people.
Gotcha.
Like because the girl with the glasses she actually says, "Oh, Ryunosuke, I failed you." Ryunosuke being the author of the book. Mm-hmm. So like the book is definitely connected to the story somehow, and the
and
the
they've
author
mentioned
of the
it
book
like a
is
couple
connected
times,
to
like
this girl.
your favorite author.
True,
they've like mentioned it a couple times. Yeah.
Now the only issue is the fact that Mio's eyes are blue, and the girl, the grown up Mizuru, her eyes are like pink.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if that's like a something to throw us off the scent, or I'm just so far off the scent because that's what this show is. But like,
I mean,
the book is important, the Swamp Man book, and she is connected to the author of that book, and she's also connected to like she's Shinpei. So it's just like there's like I feel like it's one of those shows you got to just be watching almost like constantly. Like I feel like I've already missed like 20 things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is just like from what I've managed to like pick up and sort of like working with the thread, because a lot of what they say, like, because I thought it was going to be a big spoiler that Shinpei, or like a big thing later on, and I thought I was so clever that like we were going to learn that Shinpei had already been like processed as a shadow. And then boom, in the next episode, that's already revealed.
Yeah.
So I was focusing on the short term. Like the far, I was focusing on the trees and not even noticing the forest. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like it's just a wild ride in terms of like this could go anyway. And like at the end of episode 5, we have this like demon girl come out of nowhere, the mother figure. I have got no idea like what she is related to, or because at one point I actually thought that maybe the mother figure was going to be Ushio. You know, like I just couldn't fathom like where this, but turns out it's like this white-haired, one-eyed red demon girl who's like flying over the village like I don't know, like the blood moon or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like the type of story where like you know that they've like thought ahead of like what's gonna happen, because there's it feels like such a small piece of like this huge thing that we're getting, right? So it doesn't feel like they started at the beginning. I guess it sort of feels like they started at the end and then worked their way back.
Backwards.
I guess.
Yeah. I think it had to, because there is like this
so
is one of these
detail.
things. If they can tie this together in a way that's not me rolling my eyes, like this could be a great show. Right now, it's like all I know is like all I can say is that I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah,
but it's going to be one of those shows where it's like a lot of it's going to like I think you can only really get an accurate like appraisal of the show when it's all said and done.
Yeah,
you know, because it's Spy Family. It's like, oh, they have a bunch of great episodes, right? Yeah. And like, okay, some were better than others. That's whatever, right? But this one, it's like so much of it's going to depend on like the mystery aspect and how you execute that.
Like all this could be like for naught, I guess, right? Like
yeah. Like but the fact they continue to surprise me and they just go weirder and weirder and like more like kind of like off the reservation. It's like, man, if they have like a landing point that's gonna make me go, oh man, that's great. Like I'm very excited to see where this goes. Like probably the most excited since maybe Sunny Boy. Like that was another. I had that feeling like, where is this gonna go? I would reckon. I think this one is going like. Sunny Boy was like almost purposely fairly kind of like weird and directionless. It felt like it was kind of like but this one is like I feel like there has to be a point here. You know what I mean? It's like
Sunny Boy's definitely like more. Oh, go ahead.
Just a question for you guys, because you know my expectations really shifted throughout the first 5 episodes. So first I was thinking, okay, this looks like a setup for a murder mystery. And then it changes to, no, there's something supernatural, definitely something supernatural going on here, to, oh, this is horror anime territory. But I don't know, what do you think is going to be the direction for this show? Will this be a show where in the end everything can just be logically explained? Will this remain, or will this be more like a supernatural mystery kind of show? What's your expectation here?
You can go first now, man.
Yeah, I think it all depends on like what the shadows are. Like that's the thing that I'm most interested in. Like, what are the shadows? Yeah. What's their purpose? Why are they here? And what are all their abilities? I guess because that's supposed to be like the big mystery, right? Like someone killed Ushio, sure. But like, why did they kill her? Why are they there? There's definitely something, right? Because like the glasses with the purple hair, I forget her name. The one that you mentioned that might be like Mio in the future.
Oh, Hizuru.
Hizuru. So, like, she's definitely there to like scout them out or something. So I wonder like what's the deal with them, and I think based on that is like where the show is gonna go.
I think
they might be like a smaller thing, or they might be like the big thing.
The fact that she knows Shinpei though, like that's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like everything is just so mind melting at this point in time. So like all I know is that I enjoy it.
Yeah,
right.
No, it's
that's
super
go from. And in terms of like how it's going to go, like I could see like in ReZero there was a couple of moments that were like quite like dark. Yeah, like kind of skewing towards like the horror, like psychological horror. I'm thinking of mainly the that rerun where they had was it Sloth?
Yeah.
When that with the REM thing when it was constantly happening over again, and it was getting kind of more and more messed up. Like I could see it kind of going like quite like horror-y, but I almost feel like it's one of, how do you say this? Like it's not going to really like have one box.
Yeah.
When it's all done and done. I don't know why I was getting kind of like, I think the obvious comps are like Erased, Steins Gate, ReZero.
Yeah, it
but
definitely
you guys
has
ever
like
see
ReZero.
Ghost Hound?
No.
The Ritaro Nakamura. It's like the guy who did Hibernate Renmei and Serial Experience Lane. He did a show called Ghost Hound, which was like when it was about 15 years ago, 2007. It's a very weird, trippy mystery anime.
Like all his shows. Like
all his shows.
Yeah.
And like it's like one of his lesser lauded ones. Like I don't think it's necessarily, it's not as good, I think, would be as like Serial Experiment Lane or Hibernate Renmei, or Kino's Adventures.
Yeah.
But it's like Kino's Journey. But it's like it's very, very weird and very trippy, and there's a lot of twists and turns, and you don't really know where you're going at any one time. I don't know why. Just like it kind of reminds me of that mixed with like Erased, and I think it's going to be quite like, this might be pretentious to say, but I think it's going to be quite arty.
It might be.
You know, I think
maybe.
Like it's really hard to know where it's going to go. Like I would say that the level of graphic violence has kind of like surprised me. Too, the amount of like opai on display, like random like cops is like looking at porn mags or guav mags or whatever they're called.
I was definitely like,
there is that in it, but it doesn't really linger. You know, I mean.
Yeah, like I was scared when like the first two scenes in the show are like he lands on the girl's boobs, and then there's like a panty shot in like the next couple scenes. I'm like, this is worrying, and then they like turned it around. I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's just there.
You know, the guy. It's terribly awkward, and the guy gets slapped. So I mean, I can give it a pass.
Yeah. I was scared, but
my fear was that there was going to be a precedent, and that was like what we're gonna. Oh, it's going to have this really cool story, but we're going to have to go through this kind of element of it, but it's thankfully not the case. Like, obviously, the nature of these shows where you go back and relive the same moment over and over again, that scene is going to play out more than once, but they don't. It's not like exaggerated or lingered on, or there's not multiple instances of that. Also, Shinpei looks a lot like Eren Yeager. I'm going to say it.
He has a very typical male
he's
character.
got that stare.
Got the man bun going on, so hopefully maybe he is like the villain.
That's the other twist.
Maybe.
That's a big twist.
Yeah, that's the true twist.
Honestly, it could be like, it could go anyway.
He's the leader of the shadows.
What do you guys think of the animation, character design, and like all that kind of stuff? Because like that's something we can't comment on.
Yeah, I enjoy the production. Like I really like the island vibe, like the Okinawa vibe, I guess. I think Seaside Stranger has that vibe also, but it's I really like I'm tropical islander, right? So I enjoy that setting a lot. And I think the character designs are all like unique. They're all pretty unique.
They're all distinct.
Yeah.
I mean, you can recognize all the characters just by their silhouettes. You've got you've got Shinpei, you've got Ushio. The cop is also I don't know.
He is a
the
character
cop with the cowboy hat. He's also great.
I kind of wonder if he's like a reference to something, because the cop feels very like drawn from like your typical like small town American police officer.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Kind of.
I'm kind of like, am I missing something here? Or like,
I'm missing the reference, but I know that I've seen like that type of architect something like somewhere.
Like maybe he's like the police officer from like Twin Peaks or something.
Yeah, something
like I haven't never seen Twin Peaks. I can't comment, but
like one cop in a town with a weird murder.
Yeah, and then you got the old boy with the big white beard. Like I'm kind of like wondering where he comes into it, because in the end of episode 5 we saw him with his gun out. Like I'm pretty certain he's aware of the shadows, and he is like aware of this as well. Maybe he's like Grandpa Shinpei. You have like Rider Shinpei,
everyone's
and then
Shinpei.
You have everyone's Shinpei. We're all just
Shinpei.
aspects of his imagination.
And you've got the kind of like the doctor or scientist looking guy who's talking to a shadow who's sitting in a chair just before he disappears.
So theory time is, I reckon. Do we think that that guy is the father of? I can't remember the boy's name, but Shinpei's friend who sort of joins.
Oh yeah, because he was a guy that did the autopsy on Ushio.
Yeah, and I reckon the
maybe.
shadow is probably his. You reckon it's his dead wife?
Something
like otherwise, why do you keep a shadow in a wheelchair in your home? Like it's kind of a weird thing to do, right? But maybe
it makes sense, right? Because like if the shadows, if the shadows aren't evil, right? Like it's like it would be almost like someone coming back to life, right?
Yeah, like you get some like approximation of it.
If you see that Ushio is a shadow, but she isn't particularly evil, but
Yeah, and the other shadows call it like a traitor. I'm like, oh, this is there's factions now in the shadows. God damn it.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's such a mind melt, I gotta say. So like,
It's a head
in terms of
scratcher.
the animation, I gotta say, like, I wasn't in love with it at first in terms of like the design of the show, but I've really come to like it. It feels
I like the
quite
ED
unique.
a lot. Like I don't know if you see like the ED where it's just like
ED
it's like it looks like a real video of like the ocean. I think.
Yeah.
And then it sort of glitches every so often.
Yeah.
Also, the song, I love the ED. It's
I love the song too.
I for some reason when I get like an anime with that kind of like style of music, I just know we're gonna go places and it's gonna be weird, it's gonna be fun. OP is really good too, actually, and generally the sound design is really good. It kind of reminds me of like certain parts of like Demon Slayer mixed with like Land of the Lustrous. Like it has all those like weird Japanese percussive, like traditional stuff that you'd hear in a temple, but mixed with a lot of like the Demon Slayer stuff around like the episode 4, 5, 6, around like the Swamp Demon time. I don't know why it reminds me of that, in a good way. You know,
I'd say sound design like sticks out because like you everything makes you feel like you're in the right setting. Like you hear the ocean and you hear like the way they walk. I feel like I didn't really think about it as I'm watching it. Now that I'm thinking back on it, I think the sound design is solid.
Also, I got to give a big shout out to the VA of Mio. I can't remember what's her name. Saho Sarisu. That's like her second ever role.
Oh, that's
really?
nice.
She did that. She was in like The Detective Is Already Dead. She played like a supporting part, but this like she is like really good. Like to the point where I had to like check out who she was, because there was that scene when she sort of had a bit of a breakdown moment, and it was like, oh, she's really like killing it. You know, in terms of like her acting performance, and also the guy who does Shinpei is really, really impressive.
Yeah, he's like the main. He has one of the best like main character voices because I think he's Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, and maybe Deku also from My Hero, I think.
Oh man, the guy's killing the game.
Yeah,
actually, here's one for you. This is just a random thing that came into my head. Do you remember what? Because he does Shinpei does a lot of crawling and struggling in episodes 4 and 5. You know. And in episode 5, he's like literally crawling towards Mio, and Mio sort of like, boop, she becomes like a shadow person or whatever. But did you notice like when it zoomed out, there was like these two massive hands, like a shadow, like because when the people are like shadowed, I don't know what the term is. Yeah, it leaves the body of the shadow.
Yeah, like the ashes,
the outline of their shadow. Yeah, the ashes. Yeah. So when Mio when he was when he was about to touch Mio, and she disappears into like shadow. It zoomed out to the top of the temple, and there was like these two massive hands coming around the temple in shadow form. And I was like, wait, is that Mio? Is that saying that Mio wasn't actually a person all along? She was something else? But then I had to rewind it and go back again to watch it. No, her shadow was there, but around her shadow, there was these two massive arms, like kind of like hugging it. And I had no idea what the hell that was supposed to be referenced to. And
I need to go back again. I'm going to need to go back and watch some of the episodes because I don't remember that.
Yeah, I feel like I need to get the old chart,
the chart,
the board out and start like making connection. Oh man, it's such a head mess. Like it's been a long time since I've managed to stumble across like a weekly anime that I'm like
this is probably like
completely baffled by.
The best show to watch like weekly this season.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like this, and the great thing is, I guess it's a great thing. It's just 25 weeks. This, like, in terms of like, wow, if they can do it well, I'm like, we're gonna spend half the year kind of like humming and hawing about this thing.
Yep.
But another part of me is like, as I said, we kind of mentioned already, the fact that we've already gone this far and this off the reservation in 5 episodes, we're 20% of the way in.
It feels like we're already at start of Act 3. If you're thinking of an act, if you're like thinking of it as 3-act structure, then things have escalated to such a degree already in episode 5 that what happens next should be kind of like the final confrontation.
It has to calm down at some point. Like at some point, it just has to, right? Because like it's not.
Yeah, that might be a concern. I mean, how do you maintain this pace?
So here's a couple of things I think they probably will do. One, I think they need to explain to us, and they'll spend some time doing it, going off the island. Like, why did Shinpei leave the island? We don't know, right? Yeah. How is this author connected to what's going on here? Also, we have Glasses Girl, who said she was on the island as a child, hence why I think she's Mio. Like, what's her story? You know what I mean? And then there'll probably be some sort of like Darling in the Franxx style thing where we have to explain like the origins of the shadows and this shadow princess or whatever.
Would you prefer to have an explanation about why the shadows do what they do, or do you want them just to be evil?
I
don't know.
I think if they do, like, I could be happy with either, depending on how well it's done. If that makes sense. Yeah. I do want to. I think right now though, I'm hungry for more, and I think I want to know more about the shadows. Like, like it could be one of those things where, like, I don't know, because they can go so many different ways with it. Like the shadows could just be generically like horror movie evil, and if they want to lean into the horror, I'm fine for that. As long as they do it well. But if it's some sort of like mind-altering like madness, where it turns out like they're actually like the good guys or some madness, although if they are the good guys, breaking arms and making our boy Shinpei not very nice.
Then the means justify the ends. So
I mean, and also like Shadow Mio like butchering everyone.
No,
Shadow
not
Mio,
very
that the butcher knife was the classic horror movie weapon though for a girl. Like a little girl.
Yeah, they're not making a very good case for themselves, those shadows, if they're the good guys.
Yeah, I think that's why I got like Ray Zero vibes, because it's like the mechanic of like going back, and then like the very violent deaths. At some point we're gonna get Shinpei. You're gonna get Shinpei like killing himself to go back or something.
Yeah. He'll start carrying around a gun or something like that.
Yeah.
Also,
even in OP, right? He shows up. There's a scene in the OP where he has like a gun and points it.
Yeah. Here's a question for, like, I don't know if you guys can remember too well, but do you remember the end of episode 1 when we got that reveal that like there was another Mio and she started killing everyone? That completely took me off guard, because up to that point I was like, I had a theory that there was another Mio, but we had no like brutal acts of violence just yet.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, she kills somebody, she kills Mio, and she kills Shinpei, like boom, 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 like out of nowhere. It felt like
episode 1.
Yeah, I was like, what? And looking at it for me, episode 2 was already out. But I just think if I was waiting a week,
watching it week to week, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, like the way they ended episode 5 is like every episode they've done it really well, a good job of like sustaining that interest, like the next time on
Yep.
And they don't give us the previews, they only give us that weird sort of like that Land of Luster style chanting with the name of the episodes. So like this week's episode was called Maelstrom, so you knew stuff was going to get very, very wild. And next one is like, I'm like the way it ends, the last one, with she can see him going back in time, as she being the sort of the shadow mother. It's like, it is just.
And the title for episode 4 was Jamais Vu, which is the opposite of a déjà vu. It's never seen before.
Oh.
So yeah, because that episode ends with the reveal of Ushio being alive? Question mark.
Question mark. Yeah. I've never even heard the expression jamais vu. There you go. Learn something new.
We gotta get on French.
It's not a glitch in the Matrix.
We got to get on that.
Okay.
Peter is our French correspondent.
Yeah.
Press people.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? Oh, actually, no, we should probably grade this. And I can't really give you like a solid sort of sense of how good this is going to be. But purely in terms of my interest, this is like an A++.
Yep.
I have to know what is going on in this show. I am like so there for this. And I like the tone. It's got a couple of things I really like. I like the summertime vibe, as you already said, the kind of tropical island vibe. That sound, the cicadas, the sun. Reminds me a lot of Taiwan, actually, in terms of like, oh yeah, that's Taiwan summer. It's just like bleach the stones, warm. And you're just like, yeah, like it's got a good vibe. It's got a good energy. That Gridman sort of vibe where it's sort of like very still at times, even though so much craziness is going on. They do have like a chill summer in the small towns or small island sort of vibe to it, which I kind of like. It's refreshing, like the same way that Berlint or Burl Ain't is refreshing for its novelness. I do enjoy these more rural settings. I think like Kakushi Goto or like Flying Witch or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is nice. This is nice not to be a generic anime town 442 or Tokyo. You know what I mean? It's like Barakamon. Maybe that's the twist all along. All the shadows are actually just Handa's calligraphy.
Oh,
actually, one more thing really quickly. The thing about the 2D demon, the only way to defeat the hero is to turn off the power on the game's console. Nice analogy. Yeah. I'm going to show you how I turn off the power. Like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
That was like, ooh.
Brilliant.
Because initially I was like, don't bring up video games. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to make that parallel. I want to keep this mystery. But then when they did that, I was like, yeah, that was good. That was really well written.
That makes sense, yeah.
So what about you guys on a scale of 1?
It's like an A+. Yeah. In terms of like me wanting to keep watching it, yeah.
And Peter?
Yeah. Edge of your seat every episode. It's a roller coaster until episode 5, A+. The only concern that I have, I think we talked about before, which is how are they going to keep up this pace? What's going to come next with our expectations at this level? But guess we'll just have to find out and see.
Yeah, we do. So we should come back again and talk about the spring season some more. Now, whether it's going to be at the end of the season, because we're not that far away from that, it's about 5 more weeks from now. We're not going to have a resolution for Summertime Render, but we should have an idea of like Spy Family and Your Boy Koumei and Danseur, you know, and maybe we can like either preview the summer season or we'll do like a recap of the spring season and then try and get a summer recap as well, or preview, as well. Whether that'll be 1 episode or 2 episodes, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, whatever happens, we're going to meet on the exact date that we planned. Immediately after we finish this recording.
Absolutely. And maybe if anyone has watched Bubble in the meantime, I'd be very curious to get their takes on Bubble. Because I haven't watched it yet, but some of my older students have watched it and they're impressed. They're also quite impressed by Spy Family. And they've never heard of Summertime Render. So
don't show them that one. Don't show them that one.
Also, my local 7-Eleven, the guy who works at the local 7-Eleven, he is absolutely like all in on Your Boy Koumei.
There we go.
Every time I walk in there, he's like, talk to me about Your Boy Koumei. He loves that show. What we're going to do is we're going to hop off now. That'll be us for a few weeks. We'll be back again to talk about some spring anime as it wraps up, or some summer anime as it winds into focus. The next episode we're going to be doing is a 3-episode rule. It's going to be Komi-san Can't Communicate. So there you go. I'm spoiling it for you. It's a good one. So make sure to check out that one. Social medias are social medias at My Anime Podcast. We will see you later. As long as we don't get, shadowed at some point in the near future. Scraw. Yeah, as I put a gun to my head and turn into a shadow.
There we go.